Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. Super pumped today to bring you both Sara Price and Joey D of Four Wheel Parts. We get into a lot of amazing things here, but before we get into that interview with these two juggernauts, there's a few things I need to cover with you. First off, AMSOIL. One other thing that I want to talk about with AMSOIL here is not just the products that they make, but in this case, the racers that they support, and I guess the companies that they support as well. So first off, I'm very grateful to have their support for the past year almost, which is pretty cool for me. I'm pretty excited for that. But also you got Bryce Menzies, you got Brad Lovell, Lincoln Lemieux. They're pretty active out there in supporting the snowcross, the off-road community, and a number of other places too. But I just wanted to name a couple of those there because they're big deals. It's a big deal that a company is able to go out there and support, the world that they love. There's a lot of companies that do that, and I don't want to discount any of them because actually that's kind of what the show celebrates, right, is the fact that these businesses can come out and support motorsports and make it possible for us to do what we love. So I just really wanted to take a moment to appreciate AMSOIL, and then I guess also appreciate all the other companies that support us. Speaking of that, we have a couple of other sponsors that make this show possible. SolderWeld, they produce game-changing metal bonding technology. TopThePodium.com, they're experts in motorsports sponsorship. Bold Racing, they're a family race team and GSP XTV axle specialist. And then Crash Addict Industries, they provide human protection and extreme racing products. I also want to shout out some of our other partners, MBRP, HMK, Studboy Traction, GSP XTV, and High Octane Coffee. And if you are listening to the show and you're getting some value out of it, I would love it if you went and left a rating and review on iTunes. It is a big deal for the show to get that extra little boost in iTunes. So again, head over there and leave that rating and review. And then whatever podcast player you use, whether it's Stitcher or Spotify or Google Play or iTunes, go ahead and subscribe that we don't miss upcoming guests. And that's it. We are going to get into this amazing show. Today, it's a crazy good day. I've got two guests on today. Three-peat guest. Yeah, three-peat now. Sara Price. She was on episode 12 and 75. And then a repeat guest, Joey D. Giovanni, also known as Joey D. He was last featured on episode 24. So, Sara, Joey, a lot has changed since you were last on the show. And there's a reason why you're both here together. We're going to talk about that in Heat 1. So let's kind of kick things off. I want you to start catching us up. It might take a little bit. I want you to start catching us up on what has happened. So, Sara, let's start with you. What have you been up to? What are you really excited, pumped, fired up about right now?
Oh, man, I actually just got back from the Baja 250, which they called it, it was actually 350 miles this year. So it was a brutal race, super rough, and we raced that in the Chubby Truck spec in our 4WT truck, and we almost had the win. We were so close. So we ended up taking home a second, and that's the first race of the series. So we're starting it off great, and we're on a high note, and so I'm beyond pumped. We have a new title sponsor. Joey came on board, so that's pretty cool. And, yeah, basically it's putting our heads down and trying to do well down in Mexico.
Nice. Well, I mean, I'm going to call it out right now. One of the things that we have talked about in the show in the past that, guests get super fired up about is when we have the sponsor and we have the rider, the driver, the racer on the phone at the same time, and that's what we're talking about right now. You already mentioned the 4WP truck. You mentioned Joey coming on board, and now we got to talk about you, Joey. You got to get us up to speed on what's happened, and let's talk more about this relationship here.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having us on the show. It's exciting to be back and been able to follow your progress with the Sponsored Rider podcast. It's been a lot of fun watching a lot of our friends and other people we work with get a chance to get on there and share their stories. It's been a lot of fun. So congrats to you. But
thank you.
yeah, there's been a lot of change for me the last 6, 7, 8 months. Most people that have followed me with my previous company, UTV Underground, know that I've transitioned over to Trans-American, which is known more for four-wheel parts and all the other brands that we sell here. And I've come over to be a director in marketing, which is really exciting for me. And I think the most exciting part is that I still get to work with so many friends and, industry professionals that I've grown so close to and had such a great working relationship during the 10 years that I had after starting UTV Underground and working with that company. And obviously getting to work with friends like Sara and support her program and her career is really exciting as well. And so a lot of big changes, shifting from owning my own business and starting it and watching it grow into what it is to deciding to leave that to, grow my career and try something new and put my skills to the test. And it's been really exciting. And I couldn't be more grateful and more thankful for everything that this industry has provided me to do, and to be able to still stay within it is really special. So, and again, working with Sara is extra special.
Definitely. It's so interesting. I almost wish I could put this challenge out there to somebody, like, go back and look at, specifically the four-wheel parts branding, at 8 months, like 8 months ago, and then put a line in the sand and then go back and look at it from then until now, and it is just drastically changed. And I think you've done a lot of amazing things. I tried to give some feedback to your boss, positive feedback to your boss. Hopefully he received it and he acknowledged it and he thanked me for it. But just so you know, like, I see it, whether it matters or not, I see it, and I let people know about it. And then, like, I've just seen some of the connections you've been making, like, obviously Sara here, which you've already had these connections, but, like, you're bringing them into your world, and I think it's pretty neat. So let's get back into the connections here. So Sara, again, you've already talked about four-wheel parts being a big change here, but tell us about some of your current sponsors, your current partners that you're working with right now.
Yeah, so I rent a truck from RPM Racing, and we have some incredible companies. And the cool thing about every company that's really involved is they're really part of, like, our family. So one of them might be Rugged Radios. Like, those guys are just a hoot. Anywhere you go with them, they have their little three-wheelers, and they're just killing it, and they have the radios stashed in their helmets. Raceline Wheels, they've been a long-time friend of mine, Ryan Edwards. I've known him since I was, like, I don't even know, 12 years old, I want to say. And then another big sponsor was BF Goodrich. In the truck, tires are everything. And so making sure I'm with the best is going to be a huge benefit to doing well. And they have a great, just everyone there is just amazing people, and they're there to do the same thing as you are.
And you're allowed to say Peter Calhoun because he was on this show as well. You're not giving his name
no
up.
Way. Peter's great. Yeah, Peter's great, and so is Nate, and just everyone there. Like, me and Joey, we went to the KM3 terrain takeover, and oh my gosh, do we have stories. We had a good time. That's where your picture actually came from.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good picture. That was pretty unique. I was like, okay, I just gotta find a picture here. Oh my gosh, one with Joey and Sara both in it, sitting next to each other in a car. That's awesome.
That was actually in a helicopter.
That was in a helicopter,
actually.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
No, we sound like we're, like, super, famous over here or something.
You're pretty famous.
Yeah, don't confuse our helicopter for a car. Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I usually take most of my pictures in helicopters, so it's kind of like average to hear that. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout out Peter Calhoun too, because he was on episode 142, so pretty recently. He's the motorsport marketing manager with BF Goodrich, and Nate Hunt is on his team as well, and he's been on the show, but I don't remember what number he was on. Kind of get him mixed up in my head a little bit, but he was on way back in the day at Vegas to Reno. So
you had everyone on this show, I swear.
I
think it's so awesome. Everyone in the industry knows of you now, and, like, from the beginning when we did our episode to see it change has been pretty cool to see.
It's been a lot of fun, but I'll tell you what, there's a couple people that I'm keep prying at, and like when I know that when I can like finally lay down my head and say I've accomplished what I want to accomplish is when Jeremy McGrath comes on here. Like I even have my own hashtag, Path to McGrath, and I haven't quite gotten there yet. I had Pursuit of Pastrana, and I did get Travis Pastrana on for 2 minutes and 12 seconds, but not yet. Path to McGrath isn't there yet, but we're working on it. But
that's great.
Okay, shoot. I interrupted you.
You're good.
You said BF Goodrich, and I was like, oh, shameless plug time, right? So who else are you working with?
Other than that, it's Impact. Obviously, they keep us safe in the truck, and Hoonigans are my friends, my homies. We have VP Racing Fuels on board, and we just actually recently confirmed our deal with K&N Filters. So that's going to be super exciting, and it's going to be more of a ambassadorship. So we're going to be doing some fun things that don't only go along the racing, but with my business, because my business has a bunch of racer girls involved too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good deal. And one thing, just call out Rugged Radios. I think I've got this right. Aren't they the ones that built it's like a 32 Ford yellow coupe body on top of a Polaris Razor? Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
That's them.
That is the coolest machine I've ever seen ever.
They have
they have
like 10 3-wheelers, I think, like little 50 ATCs. And I'm not even kidding you. At King of the Hammers, I had a taco truck come, and these guys are like a gang rolling up on their 3-wheelers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually know them.
That is awesome. But yeah, if I can ever get my hands on that car, that would be amazing. I know it's got like a fake motor up front, and because it's a Polaris Razor, I don't know, it's phenomenal. They did such a good job with it. I actually sought it out. Like I saw this somewhere in a video, and it wasn't a Rugged Radio video, and I did all this research to try to find out where this car was. Yeah, good stuff.
I think they're actually doing a museum in their new building, and they're gonna have all those cars on display.
Nice. Interesting.
It'd be pretty cool.
I'm intrigued. Joey. So let's kind of shift gears here and talk a little bit more about you here. You've been at 4 Wheel Parts or TAP, for a little while now, getting your feet on the ground. I mean, what's some of the things that you've experienced? What's some of the things that you've learned, in that transition?
Well, I've learned a ton, coming over here, running my own business for 10 years, and you're forced to get up every day and go hustle and grind, right? And, the early years of UTV Underground, which I always attribute to being the best years, because, I didn't have a whole lot. I was willing to do whatever it took to get my name out there and build the company. And, life goes by in a blur, and you're just so in love with what you're building that nothing else matters. And that's a pretty special feeling. They consider that like the entrepreneurial spirit. So coming into a corporate environment and having that sort of foundation for work ethic, has been a real help for me. So that's been great, being able to come in here and just, be willing to put in the work that it takes to get up to speed. But I'm glad I have that, because stepping into this company, most people would look at us and they think from the outside that I went to work for just 4 Wheel Parts. And that's because that's the most visible brand that we're focused on, from a marketing perspective, maybe from what the industry might see. But this company is massive, right? I mean, we're a near $1 billion company. Our parent company is actually Polaris. So that's pretty cool for me after working so close with Polaris and the Razor team for all those years. But coming here and learning the scale and the size of this company, and being forced to learn about all the different divisions and everything that goes into them, has been, challenging, but challenging in a good way. It's actually really fun. And every day I learn something new. And, I'm surrounded by some extremely bright people here, and some really great people that have taught me a ton. I mean, every day I come in and I learn more. and I'm able to absorb more from all of their experience. And so personally, the growth that I'm experiencing here the past 6 months is, equivalent to the last 3-4 years at UTV Underground. It's just, I'm being with a group of people this bright, and this experience has been tremendous for me personally in my career. So, but some of the other things is that, I had been so, ingrained into the side-by-side and UTV community. And that's where my passion lied. And that's what I was doing. But most people don't realize that. But what got me into that realm was because I was an off-road junkie since my early teens. And so trucks have always been a big part of my life, as well as other forms of power sports and whatnot. Jeeps were new, so coming here, it's been really fun kind of diving headfirst into the Jeep community. But overall, coming here has allowed me to then dive into the off-road industry just in a broader scale. So expand from being the UTV guy now to being able to go and do Jeep stuff and truck stuff and all of these other things that I love so much and am so interested in, has been refreshing. And just, again, I'm learning a lot, and I get to go and apply all of these things that, I was able to learn and do with my old company, and now take those skills and apply them here in this environment and make a big change. And, I would say that when people ask me what's your favorite part about being here, I've been asked that a couple of times. And I'll tell you, my favorite part is that for so many years, I sat on the side of the table where if I came up with an idea or I had something that I wanted to do, I had to go convince somebody else to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to go do a big video, or I wanted to go on a big trip or build a car, I had to convince somebody else to support me in that idea to make it come to life. And luckily I was surrounded by so many companies and brands that were always willing to come in and be along for the ride. But here, if I come up with an idea, I can just go figure out how to do it myself, and figure out how does that apply to some of the goals that we have here from a marketing strategy standpoint. Can I connect it back to retail? Is it something where we're trying to get some brand awareness out there, whatever it is? But if I want to go do something crazy, I can go figure it out and make it happen. And that's really exciting and empowering, and something that is a lot of fun being here. And really something I'm looking forward to in the future is I still, even though I've been here for 6 months, I can't keep using the new guy card. I've got some seasoning on me now, but there's still a long way to go, So I'm really excited to be here in the future, and it's been a lot of change, but it's been a lot of fun.
Good deal. I made a career transition. It's going on 11 months ago, and I was at one company for about 9 years. And I went to this new company. I took on a much bigger role than I'd ever had before. And I still, to this day, 11 months later, I feel like I just started. There's just so much to learn. So many new people, so many new products, so many new processes. It is incredible. I'm hoping I can hold that new guy card for at least 5 years, maybe. I don't know. But no, I'm pretty sure mine's worn off too. Well, good. Well, we're going to spend a lot more time talking here, but I need to take a minute right now to thank the sponsors for this podcast. 2 questions I get continuously about this show and about sponsorship is, do I need my own website and do I need a resume? The answer is, in my opinion, yes to both, and that's why we partner with TopThePodium.com. Now, if you want to see an example of what a professional website and what a professional resume looks like, you got to check out TopThePodium.com. They did my website. The Sponsored Rider Club podcast website is SponsoredRiderClubPodcast.com. That was created by Jeff Vanistal of TopThePodium.com. I think it's awesome. I get a lot of good feedback about it. And there's a number of other websites out there that Jeff has produced that are just phenomenal. So I think it's important in this world of social media where you have control of your content That's what a website does. It gives you full control. We don't know what Facebook's going to do sometimes. We don't know what Instagram's going to do. We don't know what Twitter's going to do. So if we don't have that central location to direct people and house our content, there is some risk that we incur. So I strongly recommend getting a website, talking to topthepodium.com. And then the resume, again, is massive. And if you want to stand out, get it done professionally. And honestly, it is one of the best ways to step up your game and present yourself in the best way possible.
Hey guys, George Hamill here to talk about SolderWeld's new off-road repair kit. If you're a racer of any type or an off-road enthusiast like myself, you're going to want to take a close look at this product that bonds metal on the spot. SolderWeld has combined some of their most elite products into one small kit that fits perfectly under your seat or strapped to a roll cage and allows you to make some insane fixes anywhere you go. How many of us have been in a race or out on the trail and got a rock chip in a radiator or brake line? We have seen a top-tier desert race team at the 2019 Min 400 taken out by a simple rock to the radiator. If they had an off-road repair kit on board, they could have been back up and running in just minutes. The kit includes everything you need to work on dirty aluminum, stainless steel, copper, and many other metals. SolderWeld's cutting-edge technology allows you to make these fixes with extremely low heat and incredibly high tensile strength, leaving you a lasting fix every time. Don't be that guy broke down on the side of the trail. Get your off-road repair kit today, and your friends will thank you.
Safety is our overriding priority. I hear it all the time, but I have to ask myself, is it though? Is that the first thing we think of? Is that the first thing you think of? Over the past couple of years, we've seen the performance of production UTVs increase, somewhere around 350%. That means these machines give us a lot more opportunity to have fun and win races, but it also, unfortunately, gives us new opportunities to crash. And that's why we have partnered with Crash Addict Industries. The owner, Travis Pointer, became very accustomed to crashing early in his career. He saw it as inevitable, and he set out to make the process safer. With a passion for racing, welding, and engineering, Crash Addict Industries now produces full cage and other protection systems intentionally designed to protect you during an accident on the track. They also offer a line of human protection products through their vendors. Do this for me at this point. If you're racing with a stock cage right now, please go check out crashaddict.com and at least just see what they have to offer. Even if you choose to go with a different company, please make safety your overriding priority. Family race team. Those are the first words that come to mind when I think of Bold Racing. And the next one is actually axles. Bold Racing is a premier distributor of GSP XTV axles. And if that wasn't cool enough, they just came out with an entirely new axle called the Revolution axle. It is a hollow tube axle. It's really cool. If you head over to their website, gspxtv.com, or you can find out more at boldracingltd.com, you can find out how this new axle technology works. So they are saying to view this as a fuse for your drivetrain. So the hollow tube CV axle twist technology actually increases the strength and reliability of the axle, and it also reduces stress on the drivetrain. Plus, honestly, it's super cool looking, and if people know me, they know that I really like cool looking stuff. So they come in this really cool gold color. Check it out. It's absolutely revolutionary. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We are now entering into Heat 2, and that's where we get into the sponsorship tactics and strategies. And in this case, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about, your partnership, Sarah, your partnership, Joey, together, what you're planning to do. And I want to start off with Sarah, trying to understand, how did this come to be? Like, how did you team up with Joey? And yeah, I don't care how far back we got to go. Let's go there.
So starting out, obviously I came from motocross, and then I transferred into racing side by side. And at that point, UTV Underground was in full force, and I got to know Joey pretty well through just racing side by side. And we always had a great relationship over the years. We always, brainstormed ideas and projects and worked together as much as we can on things. And then when he moved to 4-wheel parts, it was kind of like, all right, let's finally do something. Let's go big with this. And I was trying to figure out how to obtain the truck for the year. And then we just sat down and we made it happen. And we are super stoked. I'm beyond myself to have such an incredible company supporting my efforts. And yeah, it's been a good year so far.
Good deal. It's something we've talked about in the show before, but a lot of times we think of there's, a person that's a sponsorship manager or a brand manager or a marketing manager for a company, and you work with them for years, and then they switch companies, and then all of a sudden you're like, then the rider switches with them, right? And in this case, it's almost like, you guys had this relationship ahead of time, and, Sara, you've been crushing it for a long time now, and obviously Joey saw some of that, and it's like, okay, look, we got a whole new opportunity here. Let's just make it happen. And it's interesting. Yeah. Actually, okay, I'm gonna hold some of my other comments for later because I'm too excited right now. Too excited. I'm gonna back it down and let you guys talk more. So, Joey, without me putting words in your mouth here, I mean, what did your team see in Sara? Like, why did you even want to pursue this thing?
Well, that's something Sara glances over and makes it sound like it's so easy to put a deal together like this. I mean, the reality is that relationships are crucial and I believe in any industry and in any form of life, right? And you should always be building relationships for the long term. That's something that every athlete and everybody out there who's going to try and build a career and needs support in doing so from other people, you need to always be looking at the long term. I think too many people are looking at, they're short-sighted, and they come into a situation where it's like, how much can I suck out of this company right now, and not be thinking about how they're going to deliver on that if they do get the deal and what the relationship looks like down the line. Sara's a testament of somebody who has been really good about building long-term relationships, and not just because, she's nice and she goes out and she always, does really well when she's competing. But she comes through with the things that she says she's going to go do. And so with our deal here with Sara, what made it really great is that from the top down, everyone here knew who Sara was and believed in her, including Craig Scanlon, our president and CEO. And really the reason why I was willing to make the jump to come to this company, he saw something in Sara and believed in Sara, and actually came to me and said, hey, are we going to do something with Sara Price? And I said, you want to do something with Sara Price? I'd love to do something with Sara, And, it's a new time here, and we're building this team, this 4WP official team for the first time. And so, we're being very selective. We're not spraying the bull. We're really being snipers, and there's a plan behind the people we're adding and why we're putting these people on the team in the first go around. It's really the foundation. And so to have Craig recognize Sara's talents and what she does and who she is in the sport, makes it easy for me, because I get to sit down with Sara and then have the conversation of, okay, well, what are we going to go do? And I'll tell you, I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to give away all of Sara's secrets, to her competition, who's out there fighting for potentially the same dollars she is. But, I think everybody can learn, if they were able to witness how Sara approached this negotiation and this sponsorship proposal process, they could take a lot away from it, because she really did things the right way. She understood who our brand was, what we were about. And she came in with a proposal and a plan to help us utilize her racing program to champion our brand to the industry. So number one, she had the right intentions in the way she came and proposed her program to myself and to our company. The other thing she did that was really slick is she came with options. So she didn't come in with a single piece of paper, which for some people that would be a step up. I've had some pretty interesting proposals come my way via text message and DMs on social media. She actually did it the right way and set up a meeting and had a phone call, and then came in and she had plans and she had options, and she was flexible enough to allow us to shape a program out that worked best for what we had from a budget standpoint and for what she needed. And it was just a really sophisticated and professional way of approaching a company of our scale. You got to figure between all the friends that I have out there that are racers that I've worked with over the years, and then the people who know me, and then the people who just know our company and maybe have worked with us, you can only fathom the amount of emails and DMs and phone calls that we get for sponsorship. It's a lot. And I like to look and entertain everybody. I'd love to give everybody a fair shake. But at the end of the day, you're really going to figure out what you have to spend and then have to hone that in and pick some people and build some plans around them to go and execute. And that's your team. Sara came in and really showed us that she was somebody we wanted to partner with. I already knew that she'd go out there and compete and run with everybody out there in her class. And I knew she would represent us in public properly. And so the way she came in and had this proposal laid out for us, these plans, she sealed the deal before we ever really decided what the number was. It was the way she approached it and came in. It wasn't a matter of if we were going to do a deal. It was just a matter of what the deal was going to look like, And I wish everybody from an educational standpoint could witness that process in a real time setting, because they could learn from it. A lot of young up and coming people that are coming into the sport could learn a lot about how she handled it. And let's face it, Sarah's pretty young, so she's definitely got some good people in her camp, and in her experience, she's relied upon it and learned a lot, and it allowed us to make not just an easy decision, but the right decision, and one that, we saw right out of the gate, and people that pay attention have seen right out of the gate just the way that she's represented us, and how great all the branding looks, and she's always got the right hat on. I've talked about it with Craig and a few others inside of our walls, and I said, man, Sara makes it easy for me. I don't have to chase her around for stuff. Matter of fact, she was down in San Felipe pre-running, and we were talking on the phone, FaceTiming actually, while they were on their way to go pre-run. And, she had her own media team with her, and, it's like, what do you guys want? Do you need anything from down here? And we're like, yeah, I told her, I go, make me an Instagram TV video of you guys breaking down the race course. People love to know what they're going to be coming up against and what the course really looks like and stuff, just from a descriptive standpoint. And no problem. And a couple of days later, I had this really great piece of content, threw it up on our Instagram TV, and produced, I think I looked at it today, and it was like somewhere around 24,000 views, which is solid for an organic piece of content. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Great organic piece of content. And on our page, that's a fantastic, that performs great for us. And it's just top to bottom. And this isn't me just brown nosing her because she's on the radio. She already knows how much we like and respect and love having her on the team. But the reality is, for the people out there, it's the way she's going about things that make us as a sponsor really pumped to be a part of her program. And this is how you build it for the long term. So when we come to the end of the year, she's penciled in. We already know, okay, Sara's good. What about the rest of the squad over here? What are we doing? That's the way you build long-term partnerships and relationships, and build out plans ahead of time that you can go and execute and deliver on. So she's definitely on the right path, and it's so far so good, and really looking forward to the future.
Oh, good deal.
Well, thanks, Joey. That's really cool to hear. I'm pumped to hear your side of that, because we haven't talked about that, and I work really hard on the business side of it, because obviously it's not win on Sunday and sell on Monday anymore. And like you said, relationships are everything. And you mentioned, Josh, that, you have these companies or you have these people, and they kind of switch to another company, and you either stay with the company or you stay with your people. And I'm a big believer in staying with the people, because those are the people that I know have always taken care of me, and I've always wanted to take care of them. And walking into a meeting with Joey, I want to tell them what I can offer them. It's, everyone's going in there playing the give me game. And of course, like everyone knows, racing's not cheap. It takes a good fair dollar amount, especially to race a trophy truck. And so, yeah, you gotta definitely, you have to make it worth their ROI. You gotta be able to provide something that is worth it for them, and then also be able to represent them and make it easy on them. Like Joey said, I always have my 4-wheel parts hat on. Other sponsors all the time are like, hey, can you put this on? Or they like hand me a hat, and it's like, I'm sorry. I was like, this year, 4-wheel parts is my title, and that's who gets that spot, and I'm proud to rep it. And so I hope that continues into a long-term thing. And always the first year with a company, they're watching your actions a little bit more. They're seeing what they are getting on return of investment. And you got to think of like a business person, but you also have to have your relationships dialed.
I'll add just real quick, there's one takeaway from this conversation for the people that listen to your show to learn and apply to their own programs and their own businesses. But what Sara has done for us that will allow her to continue to grow with us is she makes our lives easy. And I don't mean that she does our work for us. What I mean is that she touched on it a second ago. This is a business relationship. We have a friendship, right? That gets you in the door. But I've got people to answer to, and so does she. And so we have to very much treat the sponsorship side from a business perspective. We set our friendship on just a little bit off to the side and say, okay, now let's make a deal here. And you and I both need you to deliver. I need her to deliver on what she says, because I still have people to answer to when they ask me, wow, you spent money with Sara Price. What did we get for it? But beyond that side, that's common sense. It should be anyway. But beyond that, she makes my life easy as the sponsor of the team, because I don't have to chase the little things that when you sign a big title sponsorship deal, I shouldn't have to remind that person for doing little things. I shouldn't have to remind them to get in some posts for us every month and make sure you tag us and, make sure the stickers are on all your vehicles. You don't want to have to do those little things when you sign a title sponsorship type of deal. Frankly, any level deal, you want to just make sure that the person that you're adding to the program, is conscious of those things. And that's the difference between being an amateur and being a professional. And when we do bring on amateurs, which we do and we will, I'll never step away from supporting those up and coming talents. You understand their level, so you're going to help them along. You're going to help them grow and mature in their deals. But then when they get to Sara's level, and she knew this and she knows this, that there's a level of expectation for delivery on her end, but just doing things the right way. And that's something that everybody out there can pay attention to. There's something that people will always say, right? The other racers or other people. Well, why are you giving all that money to them? I win more races. I got more followers. But it's not always about that. It's a lot about the little things and how easy they are to work with and how willing they are to do things that you don't necessarily have to ask them to do, but that they always over deliver and go above and beyond. And we know we get that from people like Sara. And I would say everybody on our team so far in has been that way. And that's why we picked them. And that's why I was able to add who I've added to the program. Is I know going in year one here, they're going to make my life easy, and they're going to make me look good too. And they're going to make our company look good. And they're going to go about it the right way. And I love that. And as a sponsor, you got to have that trust in your people.
Yeah. And Josh, I'd like to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
So like me and Joey, we have our business relationship, and then we also have our friendship. And there's been so many times I've come to Joey and I'm like, hey, I really want to do this. And this is years ago I'm talking, and we sit down and he totally mentors me. And he's like, I think you need to go about it this way. This is what I've done before, and vice versa. And same thing with Craig Scanlon. Like, he's a major mentor in my business life. Like, he helps me figure out my business and the next steps to take for that. And that's pretty cool that the CEO of a huge company is also helping me with the other side of things, the business side, and things that people don't really see, because everyone wants to see the cool picture of a truck going through the whoops or hidden jumps and all that stuff. But little do they know all the work and relationships and kind of the army it takes behind just one racer to make it actually happen.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing I just want to point out really quickly from this, I think it's obvious the relationship piece, how big that is, and we hit this hard on the show all the time. But Sarah, pretty much every time you've referred to your race program, you call it your business, right? Like, this is your business, the way you run the business, the way you pitch the business, like, and I just want people to pay attention to that. You know, some of the things that, like, if you want to dig into all Sarah's secrets, how she does some of this stuff, part of it stems from that initial mindset. This is a business. There are certain, you know, things that you can learn about a business. There are certain things you can implement with a business. And there's like foundational rules to a business. And the fact that you, like, orient yourself around that is, I think, one of those, the key foundational elements.
Yeah, I definitely say the racing, there's a business side, because if you can't afford to go racing, you got to get sponsorships. But I also have a business aside from racing.
Right,
so
right.
That's, you know, a lot of my focus as well. But the racing is my true passion. And no matter what, like, I don't go into the year hoping to make money racing, because I know in off-road that's very slim and few. So I go into it trying to obtain my goals and what I really want to achieve that year. Because honestly, I want to be that 80-year-old woman that's still racing something when I'm that old. So racing's in my blood, and it's what I love. And so it's business to an extent. And then once the business is done, you need to go out there and just do what you love.
You know, my favorite meme that I found in a long time, I actually saved it on my phone, and it's a picture of Zach Galifianakis, if anybody knows what he looks like. And it says, "Can off-road racing make you a millionaire?" ? Yes, but only if you're a billionaire. That is
true.
Amazing.
That's the joke, right? Quickest way to make $1 million in off-road is to start with 2.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about here is a little bit more on branding. You know, so this is going to apply to both Sarah and Joey, but I want to start with you, Sarah. I've seen a ton of development with your personal brand over the years. I mean, what's your strategy for building that brand?
I think the number one thing in building a brand I've learned this far, I have tons to learn still, but I would say staying true to who you are. Being a female in a male-dominated sport, you know, you're getting looked at first for sometimes not being the most skillful person or driver out there, and for, you know, reasons that probably don't have to do with the fact of your talent. So I always stick by results come first, you know, let the actions and everything else I put my hard work into kind of take the forefront. And I believe in that, and I stick to that. And it's keeping it fun, keeping people interested. Like, people want to know what you're doing next weekend, what race is next. They want to see, oh, what did they do in their truck this weekend, or what are they doing in their side-by-side, or, you know, vice versa. And it's just keeping it fresh, like being yourself, staying true to who you are, and trying to have as much fun as you can with it.
Oh, that's good. And now I'm going to ask a similar question here for you, Joey, because, you know, I mentioned it earlier. I could see your influence on the four-wheel parts brand specifically. I could see it right away. Now I kind of want to know from your side, what's your strategy?
Well, you know, our strategy was that, you know, it's a little different, obviously. Four-wheel parts is a very established brand, right? I mean, we've been around since 1961. So the company is known out there, but, you know, I would say, and this is obviously no offense to the company and all the people that have been here for all the years, but it became from an industry guy, from someone that was lived and breathed this sport. It just became kind of stagnant. You saw it, you knew it was out there. But you kind of thought of it as Walmart for off-road, you know, a big box store that you'd go to because you know everything's in stock and you know you probably get it at a pretty good price because of that. And they were the monster that was everywhere from a brick and mortar standpoint. But, you know, you didn't look at them as like a core level store that you want to go to where you're going to talk to experts. And that's what's different, right? If you use the Walmart comparison, you know, if you go to Walmart and you walk into the clothing section and someone comes up to help you, you don't think of them as like a style expert. or if you go into the electronics section, you don't think of them as an electronics expert. And that's where we differ, is that I think what I've been wanting to do since I've been here is get people to understand that four-wheel parts isn't just the biggest box store and the biggest retailer in the off-road industry. Or I should refer to it as the truck and Jeep industry, because it's not just off-road products, right? That we're putting parts on. But that we're staffed by experts, and we're staffed by people that love, live, and breathe off-road as well. And so that's been one of my biggest things, is I got to get my feet on the ground here and started meeting the people and spending a little more time at the stores. And then I'll give you an example. I'd gone to our Chula Vista, San Diego facility, which is where we do all of our R&D and manufacturing for the products that we build and make for our other brands. And I went down to this facility, and it's a 25,000 square foot, what I would call just like a race shop. It's clean. It's got all the tooling there and all these racks, and there's all these cool vehicles up on the lift, all these new late model vehicles that guys are developing products for. And I got to start meeting and talking to the people that work down there, and we are staffed with an amazing amount of experience as off-roaders, meaning, the guy who runs the facility down there, Ted Moncure, this is a guy who comes from TRD, from Toyota Racing Development. He goes way back. I mean, the guys he hangs out with are the guys that used to build Ivan Stewart's race trophy trucks and whatnot. And then all the way to our fabrication team, we got guys like Nick Eisenhower. Him and his brother Chris are really well known as part of the Terra crew. They race 1450. Chris has that beautiful black and gold F100 truck that they built in their garage. He's a young guy, but so as I got to meet these guys and spend time, immediately I'm like, I got to tell this story. I need people to understand that you might be buying a Pro Comp lift kit that's just bolt on to make your truck look cool, but the guys who built it are the same guys that build suspension systems for their own trucks that are designed to go 100 plus miles an hour through 3-foot whoops. And I think when I can get that message conveyed over time, people are going to start to understand and think of our products and our brands differently. And that you're starting to see that shift. And a lot of that has to do right from the top down. I mean, and not just Craig, but a lot of the guys on our team, they believe in the same vision, and they understand and see the same things I do. And I think they're really excited to support the ideas and the marketing that we're starting to do to help change perception of our brand and get people to think of us, again, not just as the big box store, but as the place you want to go to talk to experts and buy the best products in the industry and have us install those products and spend time there, simply to come down and buy a hat or a hoodie or a shirt. You want to be part of the 4WP crew, So that's really right now our strategy is really to get people thinking of us a little differently, change perception of the brand. And of course we want to grow, but really what we want to do is just get in there and get our customer base to understand that, hey, we're here for you. We're experts, bring your vehicle down. And like our Q4 commercial said, let us do your rig right. And that's exactly what our plan is to do, is do every customer's vehicle right when they bring it into us or come and interact with us. So, there's a bigger strategy involved with all of this, of course. You need a week on a podcast for me to kind of lay everything out. But in a nutshell, that's really what we're just trying to do, is take this monster that we are and this established brand that we are and just kind of give it a little bit of a facelift, if you will, and, get people thinking of us a little differently.
No, that's perfect. And I can see a little bit too. I know you've gotten into, like you're saying, the Jeep world. And you say that's new to you, but that's not new to the 4-Wheel Parts brand, right? And so you were able to kind of immerse yourself in that culture, which is a lot. So I've recently got back into the Jeep brand myself. I took about a 14-year break from Jeeps, and I got back into them this past year, and I'm like, this is a culture. This is a lifestyle, and it is pretty amazing too. You got to learn the lingo and like how to drive past people. You can't just drive normally past another Jeep, right? You got to have the Jeep wave.
I learned that right away. So the first week I was here, I commandeered one of our BF Goodrich 4-wheel parts Jeeps, and I took it home, and it was really cool. The company is supportive of that. Craig still busts my chops a little bit because I haven't brought it back yet. I'm like, I need to get immersed into this Jeep lifestyle, right? Well, I was driving this thing for a couple months straight every day, and really starting to get to familiarize myself with a built Jeep. And these people were waving at me in my town.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying attention. I just think like, oh shoot, there goes somebody I know, and I feel like a jerk if I didn't wave back or I didn't catch my wave quick enough. And finally, it was either Brian Harold or Casey Curry. My friends all like to give me junk. Now I'm a Jeep guy now. That's what they say is I'm a Jeep guy. And they were like, have you got used to the Jeep wave? And that's when it hit me. I'm like, that's what that is. I don't know happening. These people. They're waving because I'm in the Jeep, So I was thinking I was pretty famous in my town, and I quickly realized that they're waving at everybody with the Jeep. So I'm trying to remember that, so I'm not the rude guy, not making the wave.
Yeah.
So, I had it pretty well dialed in.
Down?
Yeah, it's 2 fingers off the steering wheel.
Yep.
It's kind of a real cool kind of a wave. But where I feel silly is when I throw the wave up and then they don't do it back. I'm like, I'm such a dork. Like, why am I doing this? But I'm committed. I'm committed.
I get so excited, and I'm such a nerd for this stuff too. So I'll be going down like a divided highway, and I look over and I see a Jeep. I'm like, all right, look, if I wave, like they might see me. And they don't because it's a divided highway. Like they can't see me, and we're doing 75 mile an hour. But I try every time, And my whole family doesn't quite get it yet, but we're working on it. I waved to everybody. I'm like, oh hey. I was like, stick my hand out the window. Nope, you didn't see me. Okay, that's fine. I get it. Hey, that's something that you learned. The Jeep wave, but I want to talk a little bit more about lessons learned. Look at that. See that transition there? Man, that was pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Fantastic. You're a pro.
Sara, I want to talk about this one first with you. Maybe one of your past successes or failures. Is there something that you've taken away from it that, lessons learned that people, maybe they don't have to repeat that mistake, or maybe they can take that success and build on it in their own careers? What's just a takeaway for them?
Yeah, so one that sort of pops in my head, I won't say the company, but it was a dirt bike company, and they really wanted me to be like one of the first females on this company. And it was more of I don't know, bro company. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
I think I do. I think I do. Like, yeah, bro. Bro.
Yeah, bro. So,
yeah, I got you.
And and I'm not so much that. And so it was an awesome company. They're really motivated and doing all these things. It didn't quite represent who I was. Mm-hmm. And so I stood by that, and I possibly turned down a probably good opportunity, but I just didn't believe in it like I feel like I should have, just because it just wasn't who I am. And so I believe that, you should believe in every company that you represent, because then you'll actually do a good job and, represent them the way that they would like to be represented.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good deal. Joey, same question for you. I mean, what's the lessons learned that you can share with the audience?
I've learned a lot of lessons over the years in business, and also watching other people fail and in areas and whatnot. But I tell you the biggest thing is you can't rely on handshakes and trust in a business environment as much as you think you'd like to. And that was something that I learned the hard way early on, which is you got to have things in writing. And no matter how much you might trust the person on the other end of the table, and if you've worked with them for a long time or whatever it may be, you really got to put things in writing. As years go on, memories shift and things change, or as months go on, things change, and you get to the end of the year and you think you've done everything you should have done, only to find out that the other side had a different take on what their end of the deal was. So, when you sit down to make a deal for sponsorship, you got to take it from a professional approach. And if you make a deal, put it in writing and make sure each person understands what the plan is and what the deliverables are and what is expected of both sides. By doing that, and sometimes that's really uncomfortable to do, but by doing that, you just really have something to fall back on to keep the relationship and the partnership in order. And it allows everybody to remain accountable to what the deal and the spirit of the deal is. And if you do that, it will give you a much greater opportunity at success in the long term with that deal. So that's something that I personally learned early on, and the hard way. And you've got to, that's something that I share with everybody any chance I can when I'm sitting down with them and we're talking over ideas and spitballing, and someone's like, oh yeah, man, just send me some stickers and I'll throw them on, and we'll do this. And I'd say, hey, wait a minute, before we get too far along, let's just get together and write all this down and make sure, we're all on the same page here, and that's something that I really encourage everybody to do. Even if it's your best buddy, just do that to make sure everything stays above board, and, that will help preserve and prevent any heartache down the line.
Actually, I'll cover something real quick, and Sarah, you might have a few things to add on top of that, because this is a pretty important topic. One recommendation I'd have is, if you do have something in writing already, right, you've got a contract or something that you've agreed on, and you've written it down, go back and review it periodically, and just make sure you're still on track. That's something that, so AMSOIL is the title sponsor for this show. They have been for close to a year now, and, so we've got a contract, and I go through and check that thing like, okay, yep, got that. Okay, I was supposed to do this many episodes, did more. Nice. I was supposed to do this many posts, did more. Yes. But it's good to keep on track with those things, because you might go through something like, oh, what's this? Oh no. I've not been doing this. Have they been paying attention? Have I letting somebody down? Let me follow up and close this gap. But yeah, Sarah, you started saying something before I cut you off.
No, I just was going along with what Joey said. Like, even if they're best friends or vice versa, like, always just having something in writing. It doesn't have to be a totally done up contract. It doesn't have to be something that has all these exhibits, or, like all these other pages on it or anything fancy. It can be just a paper you write on or something, and I have one of my really good friends. She helps me with a lot of my sponsorship, and she helps me just make sure I'm doing my deliverables to them. And it's the same thing, like, we don't have a major contract or anything. We just have a paper I printed out when I wrote out what she does, what she gets, and vice versa. And it helps you keep your friends, and it helps you keep your sponsors, and it just helps everyone, so you have clear communication.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps everybody accountable, and it allows you the opportunity, like you mentioned, Josh, it's something else that's really good, is to review it periodically and review it often, because you might realize that you've been doing something the other side hasn't, or, you haven't been doing something and the other side's been holding up to their end. And what it allows you to do then is confront it honestly. And you can go to that partner and say, hey, I didn't realize that I was missing out on this thing over here. My bad. I'm going to make it up to you by doing this, this, and this. And, that goes back to the age old rule. Honesty is always the best policy, and just being upfront and honest, because trust me, that happens all the time with me in my career, where someone will come up and be like, hey man, and I've done it too. Hey man, I'm super sorry. I totally forgot to do that for you. I owe you, and I'm going to make it up to you. And when you hear that, at least you know that they're aware. And you understand, and you're always going to give them benefit of the doubt on that end. I do it often. I'm not a real, grinder on that side of things, as long as everyone's above board and understands what it is that we need to get done, and we're able to make it up to one another and get it done. That's all that matters, So, but yeah, trust and honesty and reviewing that stuff. That's great advice. Just knowing what it is you agreed to and making sure you're hitting all your marks, so you don't get to the end of the year and realize, oh my gosh, it's December, I'm coming into negotiation time, and I still owe this company 15 or 20 social media posts. So I'm just going to dump them all out here. That doesn't do a whole lot for the company. So don't set yourself up for failure, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to shoot into the lightning round right now and the main event. And this is actually, I pared this one down to just one question for today, but I'm going to ask you both the same thing. And a lot of people struggle with this question. So we're going to see how you two do. All right, so no pressure, but don't mess this up. I tell it to my team all the time at work. They love it. So for Sarah here, if you could sponsor anyone in the world, no restrictions here, who would you choose and why?
Oh, man.
Man. I'm glad she's going first.
I know. I'm like, man. I know Joey would probably agree with me to an extent on this too, because Joey's been in the industry a long time and he's always been just a great person helping out people in the sport. I don't think I'd pick one person. I've always wanted to be like a foundation and help out many people, but I've even thought now and in the future, I want to kind of start coming up with a small group of people and really kind of helping them pursue their dreams. Because I get that question all the time, like, how did you get into racing? How did you start doing the trucks, or how did you start doing side-by-sides? And, you know, what's my first step to get there? And I would love to be able to provide them maybe the opportunity to race their first race or something like that. So I think I would spread it out to, you know, some influential, very inspiring people that deserve it.
All right. Well, that was a good answer, a nice political answer, and I think I understand your intent, and I like it. Actually, that's pretty much how 99% of the population on the show answers it. But now we're going to turn it over to Joey. It is. Not the exact, okay, I should say that they don't pick one specific person because they pick traits, right? Which is something I like to point out, right? There's certain traits. So you said influential. You know, people are looking for a shot. You know, so that's what people tend to call out in this, and that's what I ultimately pull out. So if you don't say it, I'm gonna pull it out. If you've already pulled it out, then I'm good.
I'm gonna name drop one person, and that's Bruce Lynn. He is. Do you know who Bruce Lynn is?
No, I just love the name. So I'm gonna put the name down, and I'm gonna search him. And then now I'm going to start following him.
Yeah, his last name, like Yalkovich, or I don't know. I can never say it. And I even tried to talk to him and ask him, and he's like, yeah, don't even worry about it.
It starts with a Y?
With a, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to find it while you're talking here.
It's this little boy, and he is just a go-getter. He's very good on social media. He loves just driving. He's very good at mechanics. His dad actually is a welder on SpaceX. And they're just an incredible family. I met them on the Hoonigans, and ever since they've stayed close. And they actually came out to King of the Hammers and helped pit for me. And that little guy, I actually recently did a post about him. And I posted, like, if anyone out there is looking to sponsor someone, like, this is the kid. Like,
there you go.
He deserves it. He's putting in the hard work. And he has the social media game on lock, like, completely. And so it's pretty cool to see someone at such a young age have so much poise about him. And what's even cooler is that his dad is deaf, and he is on his own when he calls a sponsor. He doesn't have the help from his parent, and they struggle quite a bit from it. And they've talked to me about it. And so, yeah, when he can write emails and stuff, that only goes so far. But when you have to actually have a meeting or a phone call, you know, he has to work a little bit harder. And so I give so much respect to them.
Good deal. I'm trying to find them here. You said you did a post on him recently. I want to be able to share his username.
I'll send it to you.
All right, perfect. I'll post it up somewhere because I like people. One thing great when I get a name is that I can say, okay, go start following that person, pay attention to them. Right, they're doing something right. For the guests to call them out specifically by name. So good. That was awesome. Now, Joey, you've had plenty of time now to come up with the perfect answer to this.
Yeah, so I've been racking my brain the entire time, and I'm like, oh, Andy doesn't want to hear someone say I got to pick one guy. It's so tough. You know, it really is hard, and especially if I mention that one guy, that I might come up with, then I'm going to get a phone call tomorrow. I'm going to be on the spot to have to do it. You know, but the you know, the deal for me is that I have been so fortunate to be part of so many careers and support those careers in any way that I could. You know, and sometimes I get maybe more credit than I even feel I even come close to deserving, because those are things that I want to do. You know, until I got here, I never sponsored people with money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I sponsored them with what I had, which was my services and my contacts and my experience and advice. And so I have been so fortunate to be part of, you know, RJ Anderson's career from a young age, and Mitch Guthrie Jr.'s career from a young age. And now Seth Quintero, you know, is one that, you know, I just saw something in him, and I'm like, you know, I spent time with his family. I'm like, I got to do whatever it takes to give this kid everything I can to see him reach his potential. And luckily for him, he has parents, just like all of those names I just mentioned. They had parents and a support system that were after the same thing. So I got to be just an extension of what they were trying to do. And I got to add to their program, and watching these guys come up like they are and turn into everything that, you know, the expectations, put on them, you know, be able to deliver on those has just been so fun for me. So to put a name on one person, you know, I think the spirit of the question is probably like, oh, you know, I want to sponsor The Rock. You know, I'd sponsor The Rock and have him representing four-wheel parts, and he's got this massive following and everyone loves him, and he's got a fantastic personality and the chicks dig him and all this stuff. That's probably like, you know, something that, you know, if you just shot something into the sky that you'd want to pull, you know, you'd think of a guy like that. But for me, when you ask me, this is brutally honest, you know, I want to sponsor the next up and coming person that deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that really earns it. And you know that by giving them those resources, whether it's just your time or it's financial support, that they're going to take it and apply it and be grateful for it and benefit from it in a way other than just going out and buying some parts that year. And I've been so fortunate to be part of building a few of those careers. And to me, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm always looking forward to seeing these people that I'm a part of, whether it's Sara or it's Seth or Mitchie or RJ, or, you know, even supporting the guys like the Eisenhowers and Darren Parsons and Blake Wilkie, and giving these guys some of our support and you know, help based on what I see them out grinding, doing in their respective niches of the industry. Of course, like Warfighter Made, being able to do what I was able to do for a few years with them and be able to still contribute time and resources on that end. So my answer is that if I could sponsor one person, it's the next up and coming person that really truly deserves it for all the right reasons. I can't give you one single name. It's so hard. I just spent all that time while Sara was talking, thinking, and, you know, everything short of me going into my phone and looking at who I follow on Instagram, right, for that one big star. But, you know, that's just the brutal, honest truth. You know, I've been in this game for so long, and the things that have brought me the most joy and the most reward in my career are the things that had no dollar attached to it. And that's what I thrive on and look forward to the most. Is I took a lot of heat from some people over the years that, you know, oh man, you do all this stuff for these guys and they don't even pay you to do that. You know, you should be getting paid for that. You should be managing them and getting paid. And yeah, I probably could. I'll tell you what, RJ, Mitchie, the Quinteros, those three right there, they've offered to pay me numerous times to do what I've done for them. And it was actually a conversation with RJ. We were on a trip and we were having, you know, just a great conversation, like big brother, little brother, like we are. And he's like, man, you know, I'd really feel a lot better if I could pay you to go do this. And I'm like, you're not paying me, man, you know? And he's like, oh, I'd feel a lot better if I could pay you. And I told him, I said, okay, you can pay me. You want to pay me? You can pay me. Here's how you're going to pay me. One day when you're getting inducted to the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame, you can give me a shout out. That's how you can pay me. Because I don't want your money. That's not why I do this. I do it because I want to do it. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is the next person in my life that deserves it and needs the time and the experience and all the stuff that I'm willing to bring to the table for those people that I come across. And I know there's a ton out there that I haven't had a chance to, have brought into my life for whatever reason. But the few that I have, that's the thing that has brought me the most reward in my career. So that's what I seek the most.
Nice. Well, if you were to bring The Rock on as, 4-wheel parts sponsored athlete or whatever the heck you call him, my wife would be very appreciative. She is a big time Rock fan. So we'll just put that out there.
I think everybody's wife, I think everybody would, I'd be everyone's favorite friend, all the women's favorite friend all of a sudden. It reminds me of a time, and not to always bring up RJ, we just happen to be damn near best friends for so long. But we were on our way back from Dubai one year. Sara might remember this. And on the plane, I posted a selfie with RJ, myself, and Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum happened to be on the same plane.
Nice.
And no one could believe it. And this story is pretty good. I don't take a ton of time. I want to run this over. This story is pretty funny. So we get on the plane. We're flying back from Dubai. And we had some pretty nice seats, courtesy of Polaris Razor. Shout out to them for that trip. And so we're sitting in this really nice section of the airplane. And here comes Channing Tatum and his entourage. And RJ goes, "Oh my gosh, there's Channing Tatum." Well, he did a movie called 21 Jump Street. Mm-hmm. And in there, he pretends to be an SA at one scene, like a gangster. Mm-hmm. And, he has this funny line where he says, "My name is Jeff," and it's pretty funny. And RJ goes, "I'm going to say that. I'm going to yell that out." And I'm like, "Don't you dare. Don't embarrass me." He's embarrassed me so many times over the years. I'm like, "I don't need you to embarrass me now." And sure enough, he does it. Oh. And you see Channing Tatum start busting up laughing too. Well, fast forward a couple hours later, we're in the bar, because that's how cool this airplane was. They actually had a bar on it.
Oh, wow.
And we're hanging out in there, and Channing's buddy comes up, and he recognizes the UTV Underground shirt and says, "Oh, hey, you're one of those guys that did that crazy video where you dropped the guy out of the helicopter in the Razor and fly around all those big jumps." And I go, "Yeah, that's RJ right here. That's him. That's the guy." Driver. And he goes, "No way." And he goes, cool. "Channing, these are the guys that did the Razor thing." And he describes the same thing. And Channing comes up, and he was like fanboying over RJ and
so
tells us how he watches all the UTV Underground videos. And so it was pretty funny. But we took that picture, and of course, all my wife and all her friends all of a sudden want to be my best buddy. They all think like we're going to be hanging out with them after that. It's pretty funny. But The Rock would probably be that dude.
Proud.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Channing Tatum's actually a big fan of Razors, so that was why we hit it off, and how he knew the videos. He had Razors, and he has a big property up in Santa Barbara and rides Razors, and it was pretty cool to have that connection with someone like that. And pretty funny. But yeah, The Rock would probably be the guy off the top of my head, So
speaking of The Rock, I just actually got off a movie of filming with he's the lead actor in it.
That's
so I
right.
just started on a movie with him.
Now Sarah's got to one-up my story. Sarah's got to one-up my story. Now she's freaking gets to go film. Jeez.
Look, it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. Pretty soon, I feel like we're going to see The Rock, like.
I'm not that cool because I was second unit, so I was actually part of the stunt unit team, so we were on a different location than they were. But I'm supposedly supposed to go back in this month, and so we'll see if that will be on first unit, so I'd be with him.
We're adding a new clause into Sarah's contract, which is when she's doing that, she has to bring her title sponsor along with her,
That's perfect. And you know what?
Go hang out.
You got to get The Rock like a set of 40s or something on the tires 40s, and just have him do a couple curls with it on a video. That'd be enough.
He's a big truck guy, He's a Ford guy. He's in truck and everything. So
it's gonna be perfect.
Who knows? It might happen.
Really?
Especially since Sara happens to be one of his best friends. So
right.
we're gonna
I haven't even
have
met
Sara
him
connect
yet.
that.
No, actually, I can't tell you who it was that played his part, but I was playing a girl in the movie, so I wasn't actually filming with him or met him yet. But yeah, he's the lead actor in the movie we just filmed, and I was like, that's so funny that got brought up.
So my story
was
I was walking.
The lost best friend. That's how I'm leaving it.
Right. So
sorry, Josh.
My story was that I was walking next to Jimmy Moore Jr. of Bold Racing, and this was at the 2017 Vegas to Reno. So it was my first time going there, and we saw R.J. Anderson walking by, and we were like, "Oh my God, what's that R.J. Anderson?" And both of us we just kind of looked at each other, and then giggled and kept walking. We didn't even go say anything to him. We just kept walking because we were both nervous. He was like, "You go talk to him." I was like, "You go talk to him." So yeah, that's my story there.
Oh, that is funny. Hey, but going back to what Joey was saying about the people he sponsors, that is why being a part of 4WP and dealing with someone like Joey, makes me so proud. They actually have hearts and they care about people and they care about the people that they support, their careers and what they love and their passion. So Joey, props to you. That's so badass. I'm so stoked to be working with you.
Well, it's the top down here, which is even better, right? Craig, he's helped instill that into me. Heck, Craig, our CEO ran ORV at Polaris for many years, and he provided me with the tools to be able to go and help make guys' dreams come true by connecting them with Polaris and getting them factory deals and doing all that stuff. And he has the same level of enthusiasm for helping people out who truly deserve it. And then my new boss here is a guy by the name of Jason DeFucia, who was the first guy I ever met at Polaris and was Craig's basically his right-hand man for many years for Razor in the marketing division. Jason ran marketing for Razor, and now he's here with us as well. So we joke around that the band's getting back together on one end, but what's really cool is that in some way we're all kind of cut from the same cloth, and it's why we've all gotten together for gotten along so well and worked together so well for so long. And we all share in kind of the same thing, right? It's not just, we could go get the money that these corporations have. We could go sign pretty much anyone we really wanted to if we wanted to figure it out and make it happen. But it's not about that. It's about getting the right people and giving back and giving support and bringing along careers for people that truly earn it and deserve it, and you want to help and be there with them, not just for the immediate, for the long term. So it's a top-down thing here, and it's pretty cool to be surrounded by people that share in the same goals and the same mentality. So I'm fortunate.
Yeah, and I got to hop on the shout-out wagon here for a minute, too, because Craig Scanlon, I've never met Craig in person, but he's actually given me some constructive feedback and we've been able to go back and forth on the podcast periodically. I check in on him sometimes, he checks in on me. It's for him to even take the time to give me feedback on my show is pretty incredible. So that's just, I don't know. It's a pretty admirable trait. So yeah, good stuff there. But we've had a lot of good stuff here, but at some point we're going to have to wrap things up. And then we're at that point. We are at that point now. So we're at the finish line. Time to wrap up. I have just a quick thing for you. I want to know from each of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you? So Sarah, why don't you start off?
Definitely just social media. It's all at Sarah Price MX. I'm at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. And so that and my website.
Perfect. Now, Joey, what about you? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
I'm going to protect my email just because I have so many in there that I can barely keep up with as it is. But like Sarah, you can get at me on social media, Instagram at JoeyD23. I'm really active there. Obviously, that's my job, right? So feel free to always shoot me a message there. And also follow our pages. If you're listening to this and you want to kind of see what it is we're talking about and how we're kind of conducting business here, please follow at 4 Wheel Parts Official on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere else. And check out something new that we're doing that I'm really excited about at fourwheelparts.com/thedirt. So we launched a new content portal. It was a project that I got to jump in on right at the beginning and help bring to life with our team here. And I'm very proud of the hard work that they put in to kind of bring this idea to life. And that's really exciting. We got some really fun, cool, creative content there for people to consume and check out and waste some of that precious time during the day on. So come check us out there. But yeah, hit me up on social.
Perfect. And I'm going to slip in the contact for Ruslan, who we talked about earlier. So Sara sent me his information so I could pull up like his Instagram, and you can go take a look. So it's Ruslan_greasehands. Okay, so RUSLAN_GREASEHANDZ. Ruslan Greasehands, and his name on here is the Ruslan Yankovic. So we found him. I am now following him, and we're going to keep our eyes on this guy. Okay, well, that's it. I appreciate both of you for your time and for everybody listening, but I'm going to leave you with this. Have fun and ride safe. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. Make sure that you subscribe, that way you don't miss any of our upcoming shows. And follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then pay specific attention to our Facebook page. That's where we do our live shows to get insider access into upcoming guests and also ask questions and just learn best practices from the group of listeners that are out there. You can check out the Sponsored Rider Club on Facebook. A special thanks goes out to our partners, AMSOIL, SolderWeld, Bold Racing, TopThePodium.com, and Crash Addict Industries. And I also want to shout out our other partners, GSP XTV, MBRP, HMK USA, Studboy Traction, and High Octane Coffee. I look forward to serving you again next week. Until then, have fun and ride safe.